All right. Welcome to another episode of Millennial Money Matters with Kelly Turner.
And Derek Mazzarella.
Derek, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about school, specifically college for big kids.
I don't want to talk about that. That is looming too close for me, and it's still really far away. But when you look at the numbers, it seems too close.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem every parent has. Like, it's far away, and then it's like right in your face.
Yeah. And you think about it. You know, it's funny. We've talked about student loans before, and we're going to kind of get into a little bit of that. But This is less about student loans. But what is really hard, I think, as millennial and before, is that like college was expensive.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was still like manageable.
Yeah.
For the average person, what college was 20 years ago and what college is today, vastly different. I can only imagine what 20 years from now is going to look like.
Yeah, and I guess that's the question, because the one thing that we've got to like understand is like, is college going to keep increasing cost at the same rate it has been, which has been well above inflation?
Well above inflation.
Right, it's like not even close. So I'm curious, like just in general, you know, the challenge for me is because I'm actually just like physically trying to plan this stuff for clients that are our age now, and we're like, well, what is it going to cost? I'm like, well, if it trajects on like keeps the same trajectory, right? You're looking like $500,000 for like a kid to go to college.
100%.
Yeah, which is like a jaw-dropping number when you're like, well, I make $60,000, so
jaw-dropping. So here's a fun fact about Kelly, for those of you who don't know, is prior to mortgages, I worked in higher education for many, many years. So this is a topic that feels very, very important to me, and I have a lot of feelings about it.
I'm sure you do.
You know I have a lot of feelings about everything.
Well, you're definitely using your degree, right?
Well, and that's actually exactly some of this is, do I think college is important? Yeah. For a lot of people.
Yeah.
Do I think college is kind of the new high school diploma? 100%. It's just this base barrier of entry for most jobs.
Yeah.
That they say bachelor's degree required, and you're like, what kind of bachelor's degree? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Whatever you want. Yeah. I mean, for most
want.
jobs, yeah, it doesn't really matter, because it's unless you're like a doctor, or even attorney, like your bachelor's could be something that
it could be anything you want it to be. Yeah. One of my good friends is a doctor. He's a physician.
Yeah.
And his undergrad degree is in English Lit.
Really?
Yeah, as an English Lit. He took all of the pre-med, things that he had to take, but he got a degree in English Lit. So it doesn't matter. Now, there are professional degrees, engineers, things like that, architects that get bachelor's degrees that end in a professional designation. That's cool. But when we're talking about, and why do I bring this all up, is like, as we talk about cost, there is a rate of return that you have to contemplate.
Yeah, and I think this is like the difference between our generation and our parents' generation. I think our parents' generation came from the college is rare-ish, at least for their generation. Like my dad was the first one in his family to go. My mom didn't finish college. So like they have a very like 50-50 relationship with college, and they're like, just go to college. Like that was our whole ethos when we were growing up, was like, just go. Whatever it is, I don't care. Just get your degree. You'll make more money.
Yeah,
that was it. And now we're at the point where all of us are going.
Yeah, everybody.
And because all of us are going, and all the schools are rated as schools being like, well, did you get a kid to college? You're a good high school, right? So, or good school district. And that's one of the things that's like, because there's been so much, participation in the college atmosphere, like it's basically high school plus.
Correct. And you think about even like for our parents' generation, in-state universities, that was like the cheap way to go to school. And it was kind of the guarantee, right? Yeah. If you lived in Connecticut and you wanted to go to college, chances are, if you were really smart, or honestly, not even really smart, you were marginally smart, you went to UConn.
Yeah.
Everybody else, there was another option for. UConn is not, that's not like, oh, you live in Connecticut, you'll get into UConn at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was going to school, like there was a bunch of kids in my high school that were waitlisted. I'm sure it's much worse now.
Yeah.
I went to Bryant. I probably couldn't get into Bryant based on my high school grades back then.
I think about UConn. I got into UConn, but I don't think I would get into UConn today.
Yeah.
I was like a marginal student at best.
I was like, I'll do the homework when it's done. Yeah, it's like, all right, what, we got 10 minutes to go, scribbling between the hallways, between class.
I was not the most studious high school student or a college student, to be honest. So I'm not really surprised by any of that about myself.
I think that brings up the conversations we need to have with our kids about this. And I think a lot of like our parents' conversations wasn't necessarily like, all right, here's the financial piece of it. It's like, where do you want to go? What do you want to study? Those are obviously probably the two most important things. But the third, very close behind, should be, all right, well, here's what that looks like if you go to this school for you. You are going to go for this major. You're going to be a social worker, and you want to go to a private school that costs $50,000 a year when you're going to make, coming out of it, 60 or 70. That math doesn't really work well.
Yeah.
Right. And like, in my opinion, there's probably very few schools like Harvard and Yale that like in Stanford are like, okay, they are probably worth the premium because you probably get a boost from that. But if you're going to UConn versus Florida State versus, I don't know, name XYZ Quinnipiac school, like whatever, I mean, are people really choosing you because of that school versus another one?
No, and people don't realize how many colleges and universities there are. There are thousands upon thousands of them in the United States alone, not including other places you can go. There are thousands upon thousands of them. And even some really amazing schools people have never heard of.
Yeah.
And so even if you are going to pay a boatload to go to this, and I'm going to use, for those of you who don't know, there's Swarthmore, there's Carnegie Mellon. People sometimes have heard of Carnegie Mellon, but even that, like, they're great schools, really like top end of what people are going for. People have not, the average person out, especially like New England. New England has a kind of an exponential amount of schools compared to other areas. People have never heard of these schools. They don't even know that they exist. And so it becomes, as you said, unless it's like the name recognition schools, when you're out in the real world applying for jobs, especially if you're going to move away from the area that you went to college, honestly, it becomes the checkbox. Do you have the degree?
Yeah.
Yes. What's it in? Maybe that matters.
And probably 3-4 years after you graduate, maybe even 2. Like where you went means nothing at that point.
Nothing.
It's like at that point, it's like, where did you work?
Yeah, and I think that sort of point that you made at the beginning of like it becomes like the high if you aren't going to college when you graduate from high school, you didn't make it.
Right.
And so parents are sending these kids, because that's the other thing that's happened since we were kids, is when we were going to college, pretty much all colleges were like baseline to go get your degree.
Yeah.
There are now these sort of colleges and universities that solely exist just to send your kids to. Like, they're more about the like, oh, my kid got into college. The college has a tanning salon on its campus. I will not name what college this is. It has a country club. It's more about the experience than it is about the education. And those have started to really pop up. We call them pay to plays. So you just pay enough money and your kid can go there. What are we really doing with that?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know, because I've definitely seen a lot of that stuff where it's like, oh, just go here because it'll be the most fun experience you could possibly have, and that'll draw an 18-year-old in. Like,
oh my god!
No-brainer. Like, wait, there's a pool on my dorm room. This is awesome.
Well, and I think the other piece of that is looking at your kid and knowing. So one of my children, who shall not be named on the podcast, is a delight, best personality you've ever met. She's not like the most academic kid.
Yeah.
And I say all the time to my husband that I'm so grateful that we had the experience that we had, because I was really similar. I was smart. I just like school. Again, schoolwork is not really my thing. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of directions. For those of you who don't know what direction I ended up in, is I have a BFA, a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in printmaking. That is like telling people you got a degree in underwater basket weaving. What does one do with a printmaking degree? Nothing, unless you're an exceptionally talented artist, which I was also not.
Can you run like an 1840s printing press?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Like a champ, Derek. But like, what was I going to do with that? Really, somebody probably should have recognized really early on that like I was a doer. I liked to join things.
Yeah.
I liked to be in organizations. I liked to talk to people. Lo and behold, I'm a salesperson. Are we shocked about that? No. If you had met me in my younger years, you'd been like, that lady would be a really great salesperson. My daughter's the same way. And I say to my husband all the time, I'm like, is she going to go to school? Maybe, but I'm not worried about her. Like, I don't care that she's not going to take AP classes. She's going to go be like a pharmaceutical sales rep somewhere and like crush it.
I'm also very convinced that like 80% of life is just like having people like you and, like
you
building
have a good
relationships.
Personality.
Yeah. Like, just don't be a jerk to people and you'll probably be fairly successful.
But, again, I think in the college conversations, it becomes like a status symbol for parents. Like, oh, my kids went here. Oh, all my kids went to college.
Yeah,
or,
right.
Oh, I can afford to send them out of state, or I can afford like, no, man, your C- student should not be going to college out of state. They should be going to the local community college for 2 years, getting some chops underneath them, and then seeing if they really want to do this, if at all.
Right. And I will say the one thing, because this has definitely been a path that I've seen more frequently come up, is the community college first route. And a lot of colleges are so much better at accepting credits from those schools. In the past, like my brother transferred from URI to UConn, and he had to take a whole extra year because they barely took anything. And like, not like URI is like Fred's,
it's like
Fred's
the
University.
School.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just in a different state. So that's one thing. But I think if we kind of get back to it, like there's two things we're really trying to accomplish when it comes to college planning for parents and for kids, right? For the kids, it's helping them kind of uncover like, what are the options? What does it look like? Is school the best thing? Is community college first, then big school? Is it big school all the way? And then for parents, I think the big thing is like, you've got to really have a handle on what is your goal for this. Like, and I see clients kind of come in two different areas from this. Like some clients say like, I did all this myself, right? I pay for everything myself. My kid needs that same responsibility. And then I have other people say, I paid for this whole thing myself and it sucked. I'm going to make sure my kids don't pay for a dime.
Yep.
And some are going to be in between. And I think that the first thing you really need to do when it comes to like the planning piece of this is really figure out, okay, what is like the average cost of college? What do I think it will be? And what can I afford to put away? And what does that look like? And what do I need to do to achieve either goal?
Yeah. And I think the big piece there too is this feeling of, again, even 20 years ago, you could pretty much go to college and live on campus with a combination of scholarships and student loans.
Yeah.
That is not really possible anymore.
Yeah.
It is incredibly hard to accomplish.
It's expensive. Like I have a client who's a vet and she has $300,000 in student loan debt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good job as a vet, right?
It's
That's an insane amount of debt still.
Well, and I did a little bit of research just for some millennial college cost reality check here. The average in-state public college tuition, okay?
Yeah, not room and board.
Tuition is $12,000 a year. That is just the tuition. So really what I sort of found in my research is that by the time you add room, board, books, food, meal plans, all of that, you're really looking at the least expensive, somewhere around $30,000 a year.
Yeah. So it's $120,000 for a 4-year university, easily.
Out of state public school is tuition over $31,000 a year, and room and board, everything all in, somewhere around $50,000. Private colleges, $45,000 a year tuition alone, looking at more like $60,000 to $75,000 in all in. But they're saying that number is increasing drastically, and there are more and more colleges that are now $100,000 between tuition, room, board, all expenses in a year than there has ever been before. So a 4-year degree could easily cost you somewhere between $100,000 and $400,000 a year for 4 years.
Yeah, and I'll put this in perspective. Let's say inflation on this is 3%. Well, let's say, just for math, right? That means the cost is going to double in 18 years. So if it's higher than that, the cost will double even faster. Right. So, and actually, I did see this stat.
I have so many kids.
I saw this stat too. College tuition has risen 32% since 2006, above inflation.
Above inflation.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, not just inflation. If you take inflation with it plus that, yeah, because it's just getting harder and harder to manage. I mean, that's the thing. It's hard to project this out because we're talking about $65,000 to $70,000 now. You have a 7-year-old. You have 10 years.
Yeah.
So that could easily be $120,000 a year.
Yeah, and you think about like someone like me, I'm going to have a senior in college, a sophomore in college, and a freshman in college all at the same time.
Well, you know what the worst part is for you is I mean, I don't want to get too much into FAFSA because I'm not an FAFSA expert by any means, but one thing that they did make a change a couple of years ago was when you had multiple kids in college to say, oh, well, your affordability would go down because you're paying for 2 kids at the same time or 3 kids at the same time, which makes sense. They got away with that rule. So if you have 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, they say, well, whatever, they take 1 kid individually.
Yep.
So I don't know how they expect you to get any money if you have multiple kids because you're clearly going through a cash flow strain if you're trying to pay for 2 colleges or 3 at the same time.
At the same time. Well, that's it. My kids, I'm going to be like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one of you is not going to go? And it's my oldest. No,
and that's like where the FAFSA comes in. Like I always say like, hey, look, you can't really try and rely on FAFSA because the laws can change, but the challenge is if you're making any kind of money, you're not going to have any ability to really get anything. And if you do get anything, it's usually to the loan. And the problem is most of those loans will build interest right away. We've go check out the student
loans. Yep.
Check out the student loan episode more about that stuff. But yeah, so I think we're kind of like seeing 2 trends happen. Obviously, the cost of school is going up. We're also seeing some alternatives happen with like trades.
Trade school. Love me a trade school.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is like AI is out there, right? So we don't know how that's going to impact college. Like, is that going to mean kids don't go as much? Is there no room and board? Are we just getting rid of college altogether? Or are we just all going to have robots and we just need manual jobs?
That's it. Well, and I think what one of the big shifts in this trade school is that, as we talked about before, college has kind of become this like barrier for entry, right? If you're going to go get a job at an insurance company and like sit and tippity tap on a computer all day, yeah, you just kind of need a degree in something.
Yeah.
What is the value of that when there's lots of people with that degree in something? Not a lot, right? So they don't have to pay you a lot. If you specialize in CNC machinery in aerospace.
Right.
How many of you are there?
Not a lot.
Do you get paid more?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And this is sort of, when we say trades, a lot of times people think like, oh, that's an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter. Those are absolutely trades. But there are also these other specialized trades that electrical engineering technology, mechanical engineering technology. Some of these are associate's degrees. Some you just go to trade school. Where I do mortgages, guys, I look at people's income all day long. And I will tell you, a really great electrician, a really great plumber can make as much as a doctor.
Especially they own their own company too.
Yep.
Yeah, but even union ones make really good jobs. They get great benefits and health insurance.
The youngest borrowers that I have closed a lot of loans, especially in the last couple of years, of like 20-year-olds. Every single one of those 20-year-olds who's buying a house works in the trades.
Well, yeah. Let's think about it. You get a 4-year jump started making money.
Yep.
You have very minimal debt because usually the cost of a trade school is like $4,000 a year.
Yep.
And most of them, if you work for a union, they'll basically provide that resource for you for free. You just have to stay there for 5 years. And then you get out making,
89, more than that.
I mean, like $50 an hour, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. $80,000, $90,000 a year, sometimes more. I have a borrower who I closed on a couple months ago. He worked for a large aerospace technology company in the area. He was making $120.
Yeah.
And he went to a trade school. He did purposefully, I don't think it's called majoring, but the program that he was in was a very specialized program that everyone kind of doing the same kind of manufacturing needs people who do this particular job. And that's what he specialized in. And he told me it was the hardest thing you could do through the program he went to. Yeah. He did have to work really hard. But he's like 26, making $120,000 with, again, no student loans, no nothing. So this is your plug for trade schools.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good alternative, and you're always going to need them, and robots can't replace them at the moment.
At the moment. Yeah. Now, okay, so you're going to plan to send your kids to school, right? So we're going to go back to the college, right? You're going to plan to send your kids to college. And we know that student loans are not always the greatest. And again, you're not going to get enough to cover everything. We know that scholarships are amazing, but same thing, you're not going to get enough to cover everything. Where should you as a parent be putting money or having people put money? Like, should this be in just a checking account with your kid's name on it? Should it be in a 529 account? Should it be in an investment account? Should it be in the new Trump account? Like, where should you be putting money?
Just put it on a mattress and be fine.
Perfect. That's exactly where we want it.
Episode over.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I would probably step back on first is really like going back to that goal situation. Even like I always tell clients, even if you want to pay 100% of it, I would plan on paying for 75% of it. A couple reasons. A, I have a 7-year-old. I have no idea where he's going to go. Like, that's the challenge. Like, I have no clue. I think he might go to school. He may go to trade school. I have no idea. And that's one of the things where you really want to build up some flexibility. So if you plan for covering 75% of the cost, you can continue to save while they're going into it, and you could probably pay for some with cash flow, or if you need to extend your payments with loan, or you could also take out like a home equity line of credit. Like, there's a lot of different avenues you have as a parent to continue to fund college, even if you don't have, let's say, all of it in a college savings account, right? So I think that's one thing you probably want to look at, and just you really want to look at flexibility, because once again, we don't know with our kids like what they're going to do. Like maybe one of your kids goes, maybe all three of them go, who knows? But there's really traditionally there's been three kind of main accounts you can look at. A 529, most people are aware of that. It's a college savings account. Each state has its own 529 plan. That doesn't mean you can only use, like we're in Connecticut, you can use Connecticut's, but you can use any other states. The one benefit of using the in-state one is you get the state tax deduction for it. So if I use the Virginia plan, I don't get a deduction for it for the state. I have to use we have Fidelity. So they use a Fidelity check plan, basically it's called. Benefits of the 529 are essentially that you put the money in after tax, it grows tax-free, and if you use it for college expenses, totally tax-free. So it's a very tax-efficient investment.
That does sound like a tax-efficient.
Yep, and you do get the state tax deduction if you use it.
Do you need one for each kid?
You don't need one for each kid because you can pass them down to different beneficiaries. So if you have 3 kids, you can fund the oldest one first, and if they don't go, you just kind of move it down the chain. Most people tend to make the 3 accounts for each kid, or the 1 account for each kid. Like I have 2 kids, so I have 2 529s for each of them. It just accounting-wise a little easier, but you can transfer it. Everyone asks, okay, well, like let's say my kid doesn't go, like what happens with the money?
Yeah.
Right.
That's my monies.
Yeah. So a couple things. So you have the ability to pass it to another kid or another beneficiary. So if you have a nephew that you want to pass it to, if you only have one kid, let's say, you can do that. You can actually, there's a new rule now where you can roll over up to $35,000 of it into a Roth IRA. So, which is a nice startup for him. The caveat with that is you can only max out whatever the annual limit is per year. So you can't just dump 35 in 1 year. You have to do it over time.
Oh, like put a little bit in it.
Yeah. And then worst case scenario, you take the money out, but you're paying taxes and a 10% penalty on just the gains. So you're really, let's say you got a 3-year-old, right? Now you get 14 years of tax deferral in this account. And you have like worst case scenario to take it out. It's not like that big of a tax deal.
So it's pretty good option.
Yeah, it's usually my go-to option, especially for like, I would say of the 4, like that's the one you want to front load first.
Put your money in.
Yeah, because you can do up to the gift tax limit, which this year is $19,000, and you could actually front load it. So you could do 5 years of gifting in 1 year if you wanted to.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, so you can stuff that thing real quick if you wanted to, and then almost never put money into it, and you're probably going to have college paid.
You're gonna be in a good spot.
That's if you have a ton of cash.
What if you don't have a ton of cash?
Well, then you just add money every year.
Okay, so 529. Now, for full disclosure, I have a 529. I have one. I have 3 kids. So we did exactly that option where we just are loading one up.
Yep.
And then we'll see what we do with it at the end. And kind of, I think the same thing. We do not have the expectation that we will 100% pay for 3 kids' college because, again, if we're talking potentially $400,000 a year times 3, or $400,000 total times 3, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And one of the things I always try and tell parents is like, you gotta take care of yourself first. If you're doing it to the point where you can't retire now because all you're trying to do is fund your kids' college, like that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Because your kids are going to graduate with maybe some student loans, but they have the rest of their lives to pay for it. You have much less time to cover for your retirement.
Yeah. Well, and I think again, millennials, especially millennials, we have so much more like information on what do you do with these degrees? How much money are you going to make? Because you mentioned the social worker thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
I love you all if you're listening. I have lots of friends who are social workers, and that is, social work is an incredibly expensive degree to get.
It is, yeah.
One of the most expensive. You need the degree, you need the social work degree. You don't get paid while you're doing the clinical for the it's a very expensive degree, and it's not a very high paying field. And I think we are so much more aware of that now.
Yeah.
That I would say to my kid, like, you're not going to go to a private, very expensive 4-year university to be an art teacher, which is what I tried to do, just so you all know. That was my goal.
Yeah.
Because the return is just not there. If you tell me you want to be a financial advisor and you want to go to the London School of Economics, like, okay, maybe we could talk about that. Like this.
Even then I would be like, whatever. They don't care where you're from. They're like, you want to be a financial advisor? I could do it.
This might make sense, or kind of the education about I do a job where we make really good money and I don't need a degree to do it. There is no degree requirement to be a mortgage loan officer. Fun fact for everybody. There probably maybe should be, but there's not. But there's so many jobs like that. And I think we just have such a better ability at kind of looking at what are you doing? Does this make sense for you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the long term. Could you go, okay, you really want to get this job that you feel passionate about that is going to pay well. Okay, you can do that. And you got to go to community college for 2 years.
Right.
And live at home and eat ramen.
Yeah. Just be realistic about what are the after effects of it. Because I think that's important with this stuff. So that's essentially the 529. Trying to think, I feel like I'm missing something else from here, but you can also use it for hey, look, you do get a full ride. You can use it for computers. You could use it for books if they still do books. I don't even know if they do anymore.
No, I don't think they do books.
Tablets.
I think they download their books from ChatGPT.
Downloadable stuff, yeah. Your ChatGPT description. Who knows? So you can, as long as it's a school-related expense, you could actually use it now for private high schools, things like that. So if you go to a private school, anywhere from K to 12, you could actually use it for that too. So it's definitely much more flexible than it used to be.
Okay, but there's a new account that's even more flexible.
Which one's that?
The Trump account.
Trump account.
What is that?
Okay, so it's named after someone. I'm trying to think if I know who that person is.
Is it Donald Trump?
Oh, Donald Trump. Junior, right?
Junior.
Yeah. So basically, it's a new account. It's actually going live July 5th of 2026. So it's coming up. Basically, the biggest benefit of this, in my opinion, is if you have a kid between 25 and born between 28, you get $1,000 from the government. Also, some other people will actually be maybe throwing money in, like Ray Dalio is actually going to add some extra money if you're from Connecticut and you make under a certain amount of money. But otherwise, it's just another vehicle for you to put money in that's tax deferred. This one's a little more unique. So parents can put in up to $5,000 per year. It's after tax. So you don't get a tax deduction for it. There's no tax benefit for the parent. It just goes tax deferred. Some employers can put money in there up to $2,500 a year. That's a benefit for the employer. That's tax. You get a tax benefit for that. But then at 18, the account essentially becomes the kid's, but it turns into a traditional IRA.
So the kid has full access to this money when they turn 18.
Well,
where the 529 is owned by the parent.
So here's the deal. They do ish, right? So they can use it for qualified expenses. One of them is purchase a first home. So yay for you.
Yay for me. I got to stick it out for like 25 years here.
Or you can use it for college, right? So if they want to use it,
or they can start a business with it.
They can, which is awesome. I think that's a good idea. I'd almost rather have some loans for businesses all along. Like if they're giving out that much money for college, they should give out some loans for
that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. But so they can use it for college. If they don't, it's basically a traditional IRA. And the one thing I really don't like about that is if I'm a parent, I'm putting money in after tax, right? And then I'm going to give it to my kid. That's going to grow for them, which is awesome. But they're going to be taxed on everything. And the real hard thing is going to be tracked is like, okay, well, what kind of money is put in there? Is it the money from the business? So you got to it's a little bit harder to track. And there's like one thing that we haven't really kind of figured out exactly how they're managing all this stuff, like the type of money that's going in and how that affects the money coming out. So like, there's still some unknowns with this. So like, I personally don't love this. I would rather go to the 529 versus the Trump account just because it's not as tax efficient.
But should you open the Trump account just to get your free $1,000? Like, should everybody who's eligible at least just do that?
Yeah, 100%. If you have a baby, if you had a baby, or you're going to have a baby in the next 3 years.
January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2028.
Yep. So if you're having a baby, get that $1,000 and get whatever maybe bonus money that rich people are throwing in there.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, even if you're not going to really utilize this account, get your free money.
100%. I always take the free money. Always. So it is cool. It's going to have some nice parts of it. But at the end of the day, I would not do this one over probably even the other three for the most part. So the other one was the UTMA account. Have you ever heard of one of these accounts?
No. Maybe we've talked about it once before because it sounds familiar, but I don't know.
So UTMA stands for Uniform Trust for Minors Act.
Oh, wait. I know what this is because I look at bank statements.
Got it.
That's what I know it is. I'm like, oh, wait, I've seen that on bank statements before. Yeah, okay.
So this is going to be the most flexible but give you the best tax benefits of the flexibility ones. Right. Okay. So what happens is you can put money in the kid's account. You have total control as the parent until they're 21. Once they're 21, it is theirs. So some parents say, oh, I don't trust a 21-year-old a lot of money. It's fine. But you can invest it any way you want. You can put in money and it goes the first $1,050 of interest and income is basically taxed at 0%. The next $1,050 is taxed at 10%. So especially if you're in a high income bracket, you're pushing some money down to the kids bracket because then after that point, it goes to your tax bracket. So there's some tax benefits of using an UTMA account compared to just a regular investment account. The only caveat is it does become the kids at age 21. But if you're using this as a vehicle to fund college, or let's say they don't go and you want to fund the trade school, it's there. If they want to open a business, it's there. So it's a lot more flexible than the 529 plan is, and in some respects, the Trump account.
All right, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good account. Like this is where like if I'm layering kind of things in and timing things out, like you would want to start with a 529, and maybe as they get a little closer to college, that's when maybe you kind of put some more into the UTMA account. So maybe so you may know that like, hey, this kid's definitely going to go to a trade school. Like he's not going to go to college. Boom, that's where the UTMA account can make more sense.
Yeah. So especially in the like later years. Now, where should your money not be for college savings?
In terms of what?
Like what kind of account should you not put your money in? Don't put it in your checking account, guys.
Oh yeah, well that's
you no, you want to. I know that your reaction to this is like people wouldn't do that. Yes, they do all the time. I find in mortgages tremendous amounts of cash sitting in checking accounts and savings accounts.
Just for college.
It can be for college, for home buying, for cars. Somebody's life savings will be sitting in checking accounts.
Oh, no, I do see that a lot. I see like way too much cash sometimes because people are just freaked out about the market.
Sometimes it's not even that, though. I think people just don't know what to do with it. And college is one of those ones. College, if you are saving for a child's college, this is all a long game. There's nothing about that is short game where you need that money. It should never be sitting in those accounts.
No, until you're like a year out of college or something like that. That's the only time.
Should you put your kids' like theoretical college money in your own investment accounts?
Yeah.
That a good place for it?
So I would probably create a separate, because there's no limit to how many accounts you get. If you get a 500 investment accounts, like I would not recommend that, but you can. I'm a big fan of like, all right, create an account to have that specific goal and invest towards that goal. I do love investment accounts for college, though. I mean, there's no tax benefit whatsoever, right? But there's 100% flexibility. You're the parent, you own it, it's in your name. You can invest in absolutely anything. You can use it for college. You could use it for a wedding. You could use it for, whatever, right? You can gift it to the kids later on. So you have total flexibility with an investment account. And yes, you can use that. And as long as you kind of designate in your head, like, okay, this is Susie, Joe's investment account for college, and then you just invest it accordingly. Like it's definitely an option for you because you have so much flexibility with it.
So do you think most people really should have a combination of these things?
I'm a big fan of doing the three. I mean, the Trump account thing is so new to me. It's like I haven't really done it in real life yet because they don't exist. So
yeah,
I still want to make sure it like mechanically works well. But I definitely like having a balance of the three.
Yeah, so get yourself a 529, get your free money, put some of the money in investment, in your own investment accounts, knowing what it's for.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, most people at the point where if you are good at saving, like you putting money in a 529 is going to hurt the FAFSA. You putting money in an UTMA is going to hurt the FAFSA. You having your own investment account is going to hurt the FAFSA. You having money in a checking account is going to hurt the FAFSA. Like, there's not a lot of good things that are just put money away. Like, unless money's in a retirement account, that's the only way it doesn't really count towards FAFSA.
Yeah.
So if you just kind of have to go in the mindset, especially if you make any money at all, like you're not going to get much from FAFSA.
Well, and I think FAFSA, because when I worked in university world, FAFSA was this thing that people thought was like the thing you were trying to game all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to beat the FAFSA. You're not going to. And if you really like slow your roll and think about what FAFSA is for, if you are not getting FAFSA funds, because you're not really supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not for you. We have the same conversation in mortgages. There's a lot of like really fabulous programs with really low income caps.
Yeah.
And people get really mad. Like, what do you mean I can't qualify for that? And I'm like, yo, be proud, be happy that you can't.
Yeah, you don't want to be making $30,000 a year.
Be
I'm
happy
sorry,
that you can't qualify for that. It's because you making too much money, and that's a great problem to have. FAFSA is a tool. It works. Everyone should theoretically be applying for FAFSA. That's a fun fact too. Is a lot of people like, well, I don't make too much. I make too much money, so I'm not going to bother.
You have to apply for FAFSA.
That many colleges will not award any money, including scholarship money, if they don't have a FAFSA on file. So you can knock yourself out of free money that your kid could get on merit because you don't fill out the FAFSA. So fill that out. Everybody should fill it out. Just read all the stuff. Be realistic that like a lot of you ain't gonna get it.
And I also know we kind of scared you guys with like the private school numbers. Like they're a lot, but a lot of private schools have money to give. Correct. So the top of the line number may not be what you paid. Like I applied to Bentley, UConn, and Bryant. Bentley gave me $1,000 loan option. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So $35,000 down to $34,000. Bryant gave me enough to make the same cost of UConn.
Yeah, I was very similar.
Yeah.
I went to the University of Hartford. I applied to a lot of schools, way more than 3. I don't know what you were doing. I applied to
I got in all 3, so I
applied to like 12.
Okay.
I got into all of them but one.
Yeah.
But the University of Hartford, which is where I ultimately went, gave me way more money than UConn did. Like substantially.
Oh yeah, I got like
more.
no money from UConn either. So
and
it was just cheaper to begin with.
But even like cheaper for me. So for me, of all, I ended up going to the University of Hartford because it was one of the least. It actually for me was comparable to going to CCSU, Central Connecticut.
Yeah.
It was the same price.
Yeah.
So I never would have thought that. And I'm first generation college in my family. So my parents did not go to college. Their parents did not go to college. So I was kind of like figuring this stuff out.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid of that. You just like, you really have to kind of know what you're doing. I would also say too, one of the struggles that I always have with like 18-year-olds in college is that like you're asking a 17-year-old really to tell you what they want to do with the rest of their lives.
When also they've never been exposed to anything. Like
anything. They don't know you could be a mortgage loan officer. They don't even know this job is an option.
You know how many jobs I run to now as an adult and I'm like, oh, that's a thing?
Yeah,
like,
that's
from clients,
so cool.
I'm like, you make a lot of money doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so cool. I would agree with that. If your kid is 17, 18, and you're talking about college, and they truly have no idea what they want to do, sending them to school to do nothing is not the answer.
No. And at least if you're going to do that, send them to a big school with a lot of majors so they can easily switch.
Yeah, that has really great like credit transfer, stuff like that. But in my opinion, if your 17-year-old really has no idea what they want to do, community college is a really great start.
Yep.
I would have them do internships. I would send them out into the world.
Yeah.
I would have them talk to your friends, your family, people you know in all different jobs. I'd have them shadow people before you go spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year on college for them to do 3 years of like a degree that they find out that like, I don't actually want to do this. And now you're going to school for 6 years.
Right.
Or they're like, oh, surprise, I wasted all this time and now I need to, go get a master's degree or go get whatever because I got a degree in printmaking that I really can't do anything with.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's all great advice because it's just hard. I don't know. Like I have friends that went to college with and they wanted to be accountants right away. I'm like, I don't know how that happens, but
all my
some people
friends
do,
are engineers.
Yeah, I had a lot of engineer friends too.
And engineers all know that they want to be an engineer.
They do.
None of them are like, I do not know a single engineer who figured that out later. They all know. Well, I think they're all like, oh, I took Calc 2. Obviously, this is the career path for me. They all know what they want to do. And like, God bless, they all have great jobs. They make great money. It's a great career path. Like, great.
Absolutely,
But like those of us who are more of the liberal artsy kinds, we don't know what we want to do. And we all like, people go work in insurance. That's kind of what ends up happening.
Happened to me.
Yeah, right. It did happen to you. You had like a smart person degree though, right?
Well, I was business administration, so I thought I was going to run my own business. I went like the general business management.
You're the business version of liberal arts.
Basically, yeah. I was like, I'm going to run my own business. That'd be great. Well, they didn't have entrepreneurship. They didn't have financial planning when I went to school. So I for some reason I didn't want to go to finance. Which is ironic considering what I do now. But
yeah, again, I went to art school and then I have a degree in psychology and then I worked in higher ed and now I do mortgages.
Yeah.
So like, you also never know where life's going to take you.
That's true. So to wrap this up though, come up with some goals that you want to have for what you want to fund. Talk to your kids about where they want to go, the realities of, hey, this is the kind of opportunities that are going to be available for this type of profession. So think about that when you're picking majors in schools. And then just know that like, hey, build some flexibility. I think that's my biggest thing generally with finance, but like when it comes to college planning, like build flexibility because your 3-year-old is picking his nose right now, has no idea what he's going to do. He could be a genius. She could be terrible. Like either one they could be.
You never know.
You have no idea. So, do a blend of these.
Maybe
and
they
just don't do
become a YouTube star and make millions. And then
you don't even need it.
Then you don't even need it.
Yeah. So just cash these things out and
Correct.
Get a boat.
Get a boat. Call it college fund.
College fund. Yeah. All right. I think anything else we need to add?
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell your friends.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye.